Okay, we're going to attempt to do an optimal charge weight in our loading. There's kind of several different ways to do this, but I'm going to attempt to do the process according to Dan Newberry's website. I'm no expert in this by any means. I think I understand the concept of it. There's arguments on both sides which is the best way and why. There's this way, there's the odd debt ladder, so forth and so on. But this is the way we're gonna do, again, Dan Newberry's way of trying this out. And the basis behind this is that a lot of guys will shoot and find a tiny group and call that good, when in reality just a small amount of variance could change that group significantly. Here's an example of this. It's me playing around. This is probably the best group I've ever shot in my life. This is at 500 yards. But at the same time, I knew that it wouldn't be a sustainable group because only 0.2 grains below this, the group was significantly over 1 MOA. I mean, it was 6-inch vertical on the group, and then just that 0.2 powder charge difference gave me that group. So I knew that it wouldn't be sustainable. I was hoping, of course. I loaded up some more stuff the same, and I tried it out. Let me grab the target real quick here. Okay, so mind all the other holes and stuff, but this is the same charge at 800 yards. In the conventional world, it's still not bad for a 5-shot group, but it's 10 inches, which is, as far as long-range hunting and stuff, for 800 yards is just not acceptable. And that was that. Okay, so when you shoot, your barrel is vibrating in all different directions. Say my arm's a barrel. I mean, you shoot, and that vibration's going all over the place. It's going so fast that we can't see. Maybe head-on's a little bit better. Something like that. I got a barrel here. All right, so let's see if we can make this happen. So when you shoot, this barrel is vibrating all over the place like this. So this optimal charge weight, what it's doing is it's timing that barrel just right. When you get those little small groups, it could be at the very point of the barrel flex or whatever, but when you do this optimal charge weight and you do it right, it's getting the barrel to where it's coming to the end of its point where it's going to start flexing back. So it's coming up, I'll exaggerate it. It's coming up, it's going to slow down, and then it's going to come to the point of maximum flex, stop, and slowly start going the other way, and then start going faster. So we're trying to time these bullets to come out at this point where it's really slowing down to almost stopped before it starts going the other way. If you're letting your bullets fly when the barrel's coming across any which way, I mean, it can flex any way about it, or it's just not going to be a stable load. So that's the concept behind the optimal charge weight and getting decent groups in general. So how do we find that out? How do we map that, so to speak, when we're shooting? Okay, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to find. Range, a little over 200 yards, and again, we'll shoot these round robins. We've got targets 1 through 6. We've got 3 rounds of each powder charge, 1 through 6. We'll go shoot 1 round at target number 1. We'll shoot 1 round at target number 2. got round one round of each load on each of the targets down there, 1 through 6. Let the barrel cool, and we're ready to do round number 2. Last round I went 1, 2, 3, 4 up through 6. This time I'm going to go backwards, 6 down to 1. Alright, we let the barrel cool after volley number 2. We're ready to do volley number 3. This time we'll go back to the 1, 2, 3, so forth and so on pattern. So here's our groups that we shot. Now 1 through 6. Now traditionally people jump on the first good groups like this one, say, hey, that's a good group, that's what I'm going to load it up with, that's my charge. And you know, conventionally I probably would have done the same thing, especially seeing this group, you know, these two together and this other one not too far down, and then it triangulating together here. I probably would have been tempted to go with this load or maybe slightly in between the two of them. But if we look at, you know, these crosses that I put on here, and we have our different coordinates here, you can see that when you triangulate this group and put a dot in the center of that one and that one, this point is way below, I shouldn't say way below, but significantly below the level line, whereas in just a half a grain more of powder, now this one is, you know, that quite a ways above the line. So you gotta watch those things. What we're looking for is the 3 closest ones that triangulate, or the center points are in the same position. So if we look here, we're a little bit below the line and pretty centered up when we triangulate this one. This one we're a little bit below, a little off to the right, but not too far. Same with this one. Even though this is spread out, if you triangulate it up, we're about in the same place as these 3 here, over a grain of powder. This one starts to climb up a little bit, and then we go back down and then back up. So these ones are really different, but these 3 are about in the same spot, and that's what we're looking for. So then we want to go to our middle of that charge. So this one's 90, we go up to 91. So this 90.5 is just about right in the middle of these 3 that all correspond to the same area. The middle of the groups all correspond. This happens to be a pretty dang good group here at 200 yards, so we're somewhat lucky there. We probably have to play with seeding depth a little bit later, but for now I'm gonna load up some more that are 90.5 and validate. Okay, I'm guessing on the muzzle velocity here. My chronograph kind of crapped the bed on me. So anyway, it should be close enough to get in the on the box down there, the target. But plugged in 410 yards. It's given me an up of 5 MOA. Okay, I couldn't see the first one because it was actually in the black here. That's the cold bore shot. So I still think we're probably sub MOA there. I don't have a tape on me. I'm sure that's not 4 inches, probably a little over 3 maybe. Probably we're going to adjust the seeding depth Not very much, probably 5/1000ths each way is all. And see if that'll bring that cold bore shot a little bit more into the group. I actually loaded 2 more rounds up at 0.3 grains above this and 0.3 grains below the 90.5, just to try how stable the load is. And what we're hoping for is to get it in the same vicinity, even with those, with that much of a powder difference. So that's again the whole point of this. So let's go back and try those 2. Okay, so like I said, we've got 2 more rounds, each one loaded, can't tell, it's a 2 and an 8, meaning 90.8, which is 0.3 grains higher than our 90.5 load, and then I've got one that's 90.2, obviously 3 grains lower than our load. That's a pretty good significant difference. So we're going to give it a whirl and see if they'll group in there. That's what we're hoping. That was the whole idea behind it, so let's try it. Okay, here's our 2 from our high load and our low load. They're still within the group there. It's not the best in the world, but that kind of proves what we're talking about as far as the optimal charge weight. You can get off quite a bit, whatever the circumstances, like we talked about, weather, altitude, that sort of stuff. The change-ups will not throw you completely off if you do it this way. You got to be patient and not go for those tiny groups and get fooled by them. And take the time to go this route. And when we get back home, I'll measure these up. From there to there is pushing 4 inches, but 1, 2, 3, I think it's still well under the 4-inch, thus under 1 MOA through that full range of powder. So that kind of worked out for us. That's what we wanted. We'll have to play with the seeding depths a little bit, but I think we've got it. Getting close anyway. So there you go. Things worked out the way that we expected them to. We're not 100% there. We can still play with the seeding depth a little bit, but in all of, we had the first 18 rounds, and then we got lucky that it was a good group on the middle one. We didn't have to play with the seeding depth much, but even if you did, you'd still go a couple of rounds, maybe 5/1000ths under, 10/1000ths under, and then 5/1000ths over, 10/1000ths over. So that's 8 more rounds. So we're up to 26 rounds. And then to validate things, we got 3 more. It's 29, plus your couple of ciders. So I mean, less than 35, 40 rounds, you've got a load that is stable and that will serve you well in a multitude of weather conditions, altitudes, that sort of stuff. All that stuff can affect your trajectories significantly if you're not watching it and paying attention to it. But this type of load development really, really helps with that. Again, it's not just one of those fluke ones like the one that's on the wall behind me I showed you earlier. Great group, it's awesome, but couldn't repeat it. We've kind of proven this method works pretty well today, and we'll continue to try it for some longer range stuff and see if we can hold that same trueness to it in the future. All right, hope it helped.